morning, everybody. Denise with Lazy K Mountain Homestead. Well, guess what? It's December 1st. So this is going to kick off our, hopefully, 25 days of Christmas. I may go to 24, which would be Christmas Eve. But we'll see if I can't sneak one other video in there. So we'll have 25 every day for the countdown to Christmas. So what today I'm going to make is kind of a yummy holiday flavors, cranberries and orange, and I'm gonna make scones. So this is something that is what we like to eat for breakfast, or you can eat anytime for a snack or a tea. And they're really delightful, and they're light and fluffy, and they've got a orange frosting on top. So they're very festive. So let's get started. Whoops. Already wrecking the whole kitchen. But let's go ahead and put this down here so you guys can see what I'm doing. There we go. Well, first off, I have to have my coffee, and I am having the Grinch today. Something new. I had never seen it before. And what it is frosted sugar cookies. So I guess that's what the Grinch tastes like. All these years later, I never knew what the Grinch tasted like, so now I do. And the coffee I got from my friend Kathy, who sent over some coffee beans yesterday. And I will put in the description, I think it's Heroes for Coffee, and I believe it's a local company in Crossville. But here is my coffee, and I'm going to take a sip. Well, the Grinch never tasted so better, let me tell you. Okay, well, let's get started. We'll go ahead and put this down. I wish I had a wider view so you could see everything here. Let's see. Okay. So I have made scones before many, many times. I haven't made cranberry orange scones. I have made them from packets that my mom would send me. But this is all from scratch. So what we're going to need is 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And then to that, we're going to add 3 tablespoons of sugar. And I'm just going to go ahead and put all this in here for my dry ingredients. I know that might sound crazy, but that's what the recipe calls for. Okay. It's kind of a biscuit. If you've never had a scone before, it's a sweet biscuit. Not terribly sweet, because you see it's only 3 tablespoons. You do add a little sugar on top of the scone as it bakes, and then you also have the frosting. Okay, and now we're going to put a half a teaspoon of salt right on top of that. And then to that we add 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Baking powder. And remember, make sure it's in date. I know I say that whenever I'm using baking powder, but it's important. I have made that mistake before. Okay, and that is... Okay, and then to that we are going to add grated orange zest. And I went ahead and grated this with my box grater that I threw on the floor. So I'm not going to pick that up right now. But I will also get the juice from that orange for the glaze. So let me set that back here. So it is 1/2 tablespoon of grated orange zest. So we'll go ahead and put all that through there. We'll see if my zest goes through this sifter. It should. I've had it go through before. Boy, does it smell good. We, as y'all know, I'm in the States, in Tennessee, and this is Christmas season for us here. And this is where we have orange season. And memories of oranges in our stockings, it was a real treat. Because back in the 70s and stuff, you didn't really get a lot of oranges and nuts and things. It wasn't readily available like it is now. This is 50 years later. I mean, everything is available. I mean, you just go on Amazon or Walmart or wherever and you order it and it's at your house in a day. We used to have to wait for the oranges to come into the grocery stores and nuts and all that kind of stuff. So it's good and bad, but I do long for the simpler days, I'll tell you. But anyway, let's get back to this recipe. Okay, so what we're going to do to this is we're going to add 1 stick of cold butter, and I'm going to cut this in chunks to make it a lot easier for me to cut in there with my pastry cutter, which is right here. It's an antique and it's been used well, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut this butter. Let me put you down again. Cut this butter in chunks, and I like to slice my butter in the middle and then just make chunks out of it because it's a lot easier to work with. And you can do this in the food processor if you want to too. I've got a lot of different recipes ready for the countdown to Christmas. We did a lot of traditional recipes that we grew up with last year, and I've got some more, and then I have been scouring the recipe books for new ones that would be fun and festive. So what I'm doing is I'm just using this pastry cutter and I'm just going through just like you would if you were making biscuits, and I am cutting my butter until it is the size of small peas, crumbly, and it doesn't take long. If you don't have a pastry cutter, like I said, use your food processor and just kind of pulse it a couple times, or you can use 2 knives and go through it. I wouldn't recommend a fork unless you're really good at that, because the fork will just smash down. Okay, so this butter will really make it a nice fluffy dough. Alright, I think we're there. Alright, so as you can see, now there's one more that's stuck on there. Just make sure I get that. It's about the size of a small pea. So if you can think of a small pea, that's what you want it to be in your flour. Okay, so we'll set that aside. Now we've got wet ingredients, and we need 1 large egg. And that is a large egg from my girls. And we want to add, let me just make sure I've got this right. Okay. We are going to put a 1/2 cup of heavy cream and this egg, and we are going to beat it together. Heavy cream, heavy whipping cream. Most scones that I have ever made call for that heavy whipping cream. All right, so here's our 1/2 cup. I'm going to go ahead and put that in here before I put the egg in. Okay. Go ahead and put that in there. Now let me just grab a whisk. And we're using dried cranberries today, or craisins. If you don't like cranberries, you could use raisins or apricots. Any kind of dried fruit would be good. All right, so we're going to set that aside. And to my dry ingredients, I'm going to add 3/4 cup of craisins. And there's the craisins. And I am going to use a cup measure. And I'm not going to just go 3/4. I think I'm just going to, well, you know what? I think I'm going to chop these up a little because they are pretty big. Let me just get a cutting board real fast. Just kind of chop them up, just a coarse chop. Yeah, because they're pretty big. So we will just go through these just like so. Just giving it a little coarse chop. And that'll open up the flavors too. Oh wow, boy, the smell of these cranberries. Now that I'm chopping them, I can't wait for Willis to get home today so he can try them. Okay. There we go. So that's about 3/4 to 1 cup of chopped cranberries, dried cranberries. I have seen recipes before where you can use fresh cranberries. So if you guys prefer that, you can try it. I am not going to do that in this recipe. Okay, let me just go ahead and just whisk these around in here and get them all nice and coated with the flour. And the reason that you do that is so they just don't fall to the bottom when you're baking. Even with the fresh or any fruit that you might add to a cake or a scone or a biscuit, you don't want them to fall to the bottom. Then they would be bottom heavy. Okay, now I'm just going to make a little well right here in the middle, like you would if you were making pasta. And I'm going to add my wet ingredients. Try to get that where I'm not blocking the view. Okay. I can't believe we're already back to December. It seems like this year just flew by. It's crazy. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of gently mix all this around. And you're not going to work this dough very much. It's going to be a sticky dough, so just be forewarned with that. And this should make anywhere from 8 to 12 scones, depending on how I decide I'm going to cut them. Okay. And we're just kind of getting that together. You see, it's all coming together, and I'll be using my hands in a minute just to get the rest of it. It's a really easy recipe. I know when I first started making scones, I was kind of intimidated because they always looked like they were so fancy. And they are. I mean, they're just wonderful. But they're not, if you can make a biscuit or go by a recipe, you can make a scone. Okay, I've got my cookie sheet here, and I've got it lined with parchment paper. And what I'm going to do now is just kind of get this dough together with my hands, like so I can pour it out in a ball that I can work with. And you want to make sure you get all of it because you don't want to waste any of this precious dough. Your hands are going to be a little sticky, but I'll flour mine in just a minute. I just want to make sure I get all those craisins out of there and any dough that, there we go. I think that looks good. Oh, the smell is so good. I wish I had smell-o-vision for you guys, I tell you. All right, I'm going to grab a little bit of flour and just flour my hands so I can work with this dough. Okay, so what you're going to do is just kind of work it into a ball. And any craisins that are jumping ship here, you put them back. And we are just going to pat it down with our hands. And that's how you're going to make your circle. And you, from experience, you want to do it on your cookie sheet that you're going to cook with. And you're going to want to put it on parchment paper. Because that is the easiest way for scones to cook and to remove. And you got it made in the shade. Okay, guys, so there is my circle. I would say that's about 10 inches by 10 inches, the circle. And now I'm just going to take my knife. Now, if you have a pastry cutter, you can do that too. But we're just going to go across. And we are going to make triangles. as even as possible. I think I need to put some flour on my knife here. Okay, it is a sticky dough even when you're cutting. I thought I could probably use a pizza cutter, but with the craisins in there, I think it would just kind of get stuck on that, so I'm just using this big knife. Okay, it looks like I'll make 8 nice size scones. Okay, and then just go across here for our last set of triangles. Okay, there we go. Now, you can either just go ahead and bake them like that. They'll be fine. Or, if you're brave, you'll just remove them a little bit from each other, which is I am going to do. Just a teeny tiny bit with a very stiff spatula. And what this will do, it will kind of help so they get nice and baked right here. But that's up to you guys. Like I said, you can bake them just like they are in this circle. As long as your triangles are cut all the way through. There we go. Looks like it's going to call for more flour. Oh man, I don't know why my hands are shaking. I guess it's that coffee. It sure tastes good though. The beans I ground this morning are called Holiday. I guess it's a little stronger than my Folgers, because I love Folgers. Okay. So just kind of separating them. They don't have to be separated a whole lot. Okay, there we go. So this is how they'll bake in the oven. All right, and now what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit more of that heavy cream, and we are going to brush that on the tops of each one of these scones, just like so. And this is a very traditional way of making scones, brushing with the heavy cream. Very decadent. And then after I'm done brushing, I will just sprinkle a little bit of sugar on here. Now, if you have coarse sugar, that's good. I just use regular white sugar or castor sugar. That does the job for me. And that is, again, a tradition with making scones. But this is going to have a frosting on it, more than a glaze, and it's going to be orange. So it'll make it a little bit sweeter than normal. Okay, so there's that. And let me just get my sugar. All right, and I'm just going to lightly sprinkle sugar on all of these. Okay, my oven is preheated at 400 degrees. And these will bake for, hold on, I don't know what that is. Bake for, I know it's not very long. $12 to 15 minutes at 400 degrees. Well, I'm going to watch them and see how that goes. So into the oven they go, and I'll be back in just a few, and I'll let you know what the cook time was. Okay, guys, 15 minutes later, and it is 15 to 17 minutes or until golden brown. So 15 minutes I checked, and it's golden brown, so let me show you what these look like. I think they're gorgeous. And you can see some of them did kind of stick together. So what I'll do is I'll just, as they're warm, I'm just going to go ahead and cut through that. Because when they are cooled, it's a little bit harder. And this way you're just getting a nice clean cut there. You can see some of the craisins melted into them. They just look beautiful. So what I'm going to do is let these cool for about, I don't know, 10 minutes. And in the meantime, I am going to set them back here. And we are going to make the glaze. So let me just pick this up, make sure I got the whole thing, and set it back here on my counter. And we will proceed with this glaze. And I wanted to show you pretty much everything that we're going to do with this glaze. It's real easy. It's a cup of powdered sugar, 2/3 cup of orange juice. Now, you did zest an orange, so you're going to have your orange left. If you don't want to go through the motions of squeezing the orange and juicing it, you can use orange juice from the fridge. But you are going to need a little pinch of zest as well. So I thought I'd just go ahead and show you how to do all this from scratch. So here we are down here. I've got some zest left. Now this is what you want. You don't want the green, you want the orange, and you don't want the white, which is called the pith, and that is bitter. So I only need a pinch, and I'm using my box grater because it was Willis's mom's, and it works as a perfect zester. Okay, so it just said a pinch, so I'm thinking that's a pinch. All right, we'll go ahead and just put that in with our 1 cup of powdered sugar. Oh, it smells so good. And we'll come over here to our cutting board. Cut this orange in half. Now this is a navel orange, so it shouldn't have any seeds. But I just have one of these. You can just pick these up anywhere. I mean, I got this at a flea market, I think, for 10 cents. And sometimes they come with a bottom, sometimes they don't. I just got that because it fits perfect on one of these soup bowls. And you're going to need 2/3 cup. My mouth is literally drooling because everything smells so good in here. 2/3 cup of this, of the fresh squeezed orange juice. And this doesn't take a whole lot of manpower. It's just doing it. And some of the pulp will go through, which is fine with me because it has a lot of orange flavor. And that is yummy. And I like pulp. I'm one of those people that like pulp in their orange juice. And luckily Willis is too. So we do get orange juice. We both are orange lovers. We found out the other day that one of our grandsons doesn't like oranges, and we're not sure if he's related. Because we love oranges. Okay. Go ahead and set that down. I've got my 1/3 cup right here. And I'm going to need to squeeze just a little bit more. And I do have some more in this one. I have more oranges if I have to, but I think I'll get just what I need out of here. Oh yeah. Okay. That's it. I'll throw my oranges away. And with my whisk, I'm just going to kind of whisk this together. Wow. Now, I've never made this glaze, but it looks like I'm going to need some more powdered sugar. So, I should have known that 2/3 cup of orange juice and 1 cup of powdered sugar wasn't going to be not the right equivalent. So, let me get a measure over here. Now, This would make a glaze, a really nice glaze. But I want it to be a little bit thicker. So I'm going to go ahead and grab another half a cup of powdered sugar. And this will make what I want it to be. You know, glazes and frostings is kind of your own, yeah, this is where I want it to be. Your own preference, I think. Because not everybody likes a lot of glaze. Not everybody likes frosting. So I think we are right here where we want it to be. And boy, does it smell yummy. So as soon as these are cooled over here, let me see where they are. Yeah, I'm going to let these cool just a little bit more, and we'll be right back. Okay, I have put my scones on a cooling rack, and they are pretty cool. I mean, very cool. And what I do, because when you're going to put your frosting or glaze on it, it is a little thin. It's not like frosting a cake. You're going to have it drip through your cooling rack. So what I do is I take my cookie sheet that I cooked my scones on with the parchment paper, and I just put it right underneath because it'll catch everything and it won't be such a mess. Now, there's a couple ways that we can put our glaze on. You can either put it on with this, is what I'm going to do today, or you can just take a spoon or a fork and just kind of go like this. But I want this to cover each and every one of the tops of these scones, because this has got all that great orange flavor in there, and it's going to really be a pretty shiny top frosting. And you just want it to, you know, drip down the sides and just give it that kind of rustic, which I think is a beautiful look. And as soon as I'm finished with these, now you can let these cool a little bit longer and let the glaze kind of harden on there a little more, but I don't think I can actually wait. And I am going to try one because they smell so good, and I actually haven't had breakfast yet. That's probably why I've had 2 cups of that coffee, and I was like, why is my hand shaking? Well, we know now. So we're just putting this on all of them. You may have a little bit of this glaze left, but I'm going to go back and put more on here. And this will harden it and just make it just so nice. So, you know, guys, if you have friends over for a brunch or a coffee during the holidays or anytime, I think this would just be a fantastic way to have a little bit of a bite to eat. Have your cranberry orange scones with your coffee, tea. Oh, I think it'd be awesome. So let me just let this cool a little bit, and then I'm going to try it. I'll be right back. Okay, guys. Well, they are nice and cool. If you want to serve them warm, you can. But here they are. I think they just look lovely. You see that nice glossy glaze on there? And they're very light. And here's mine. A little piece fell off, so I did have to try it. But I'm going to go ahead and try this. I love scones. It is so flaky and light from that butter. I really hope you guys will try this recipe. Sorry, I'm talking in my mouth. So my mom taught me better. I taught my kids better too. But you can taste the cranberry, taste the orange, and it's just so scrumptious. Well, happy first day of December and our countdown to Christmas. I hope you'll try. Recipe will be in the direction box. And we'll see you soon tomorrow with another recipe for the countdown to Christmas. Bye.